I'ma keep it a bean. Stick to the script, every scene. These from last year, but they clean. Say to say, I'ma take something else, but it's winning team. Charlie Sheen, fam gang, the regime. I'm from Potty Green.
What's good, Shellitronnn here, the most woke, no joke, and I'm back at it again with a brand new video. And in today's episode, we're going to be going over and talking about a guy who I think a lot of Panthers fans are very, very high on, but I might be probably in a very small minority. I know that sounds kind of like repetitive and redundant to say small minority, but I feel like I'm in a very, very small group of people who think that this guy may not be the perfect pick for the team, and he's not even really going to be a high round draft pick for the team, but I feel like he's become a fan favorite already for the wrong reasons. I think a lot of fans either don't know or have purposely blinded themselves to some of this guy's imperfections in his game and his body and his skill set, to the point where one fact and one fact only matter about this guy. I'm talking about Bryce Love, and the one fact that Panthers fans everywhere only care about is the fact that he played at Stanford with Christian McCaffrey, a guy who's already on the team. We all love CMC. We understand that, and we see, wait, Bryce Love played in Stanford with Christian McCaffrey 2 years ago. That means he's the best option for a backup running back. And I hate for the tone of this video to sound negative already, but I've been getting so many questions. I've been told, not asked, literally told, that Bryce Love is the only running back in the draft the Panthers should choose. And I feel like I have to explain a few things about Bryce Love. I'll start with the positives though. Bryce Love is a very, very interesting running back prospect. First off, he's not really a first round, second round, even third round kind of guy. He's going to be going in the late third day of the draft. I'm talking about maybe sixth round. He could probably fall to the seventh round, but he has some really good skills. Look at his stats right here, man. What do you see? What do you notice here? His freshman year, do you see anything that you like there? Maybe not. Sophomore year, there's a few things. I like what I see there from a backup who's playing behind Christian McCaffrey. I mean, 111 rush attempts, 783 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Now, his junior year in 2017 is the year that everyone loves to hang on to. 263 rush attempts, 2,118 rush yards, and 19 touchdowns. 19 touchdowns, 2,118 rushing yards. That's amazing. He finished second, I believe, in the Heisman voting that year. Bryce Love is an interesting guy, but his skill set is extremely, extremely limited. He's a strictly speed back. He has some strength to him, but he's not a bruiser. He can run inside and outside, but outside is where he's going to make his bread and butter. He is not really a bruising kind of back. And Coach Rivera already said that he wants to find a change of pace back for our running game, like trying to find a guy who can be a big body bruiser guy, a guy not between the tackles, but between the center and the guard maybe sometimes, a guy who can just lower his shoulder and make sure that no one touches him, a bowling ball kind of guy in certain respects. And Bryce Love does not fit that mold. And the other skill sets that you look for in a running back, Bryce Love does not have in the least bit. And it's actually kind of hard for me to know where to start with Bryce Love, because there are enough positives for him to be a very enticing pick in the later rounds of the draft, but there's enough negatives, enough red flags with him that I think if he's undrafted, I would pick him up. But there's a few things that I'm really worried about. I'm going to start with injuries. First of all, I think in 2017, he had an ankle injury, and Bryce Love is a very confusing case where, you know, as a coach of a football team, you want to say, you know, I don't want a guy on my team who's going to get a boo-boo and ask for a day off and ask to go see the nurse because he got a finger jammed or, you know, turf burn, something like that. You want a guy like Bryce Love who will play through injuries and play through that pain for his teammates, for those guys. This is a family. You guys are on a battlefield in that gridiron. You want a guy who can tough it out, one of those tough guys, a real alpha male there. But that actually worked out in Bryce Love's disadvantage because he played through injuries and ended up aggravating and continuing to have a nagging injury on his ankle. He was playing through the hurt, playing through the pain, and it may have been a little bit too much. But the biggest thing for me about his injury history is just this past year when he didn't play in the bowl game. It was announced, he was like saying, okay, I don't want to play in the bowl game. I want to get 100% healthy for the NFL. I want to make sure that I'm like, my body's right, my mind's right, all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to forego playing the bowl game. And that's usually cool. I have no problem with guys who aren't being paid in college, you know, skipping out on that bowl game and saying, I want to get right for the draft, make sure I'm ready. But then it came out later that Bryce Love had actually torn his ACL in the last game that the Cardinal played, the Cardinal being the Stanford Cardinal. And that was a huge issue. But even more so than his injury risk, and not only just his injury risk, how recent his last injury was and how serious that last injury was. There's other holes in Bryce Love's game that cannot be ignored. First off, like I said, the man isn't a power back. He's really a one-trick pony on the offense. Secondly, the man can't block. Bryce Love is not a pass-blocking running back, so you really can't have men on passing downs because also the man can't catch. So if Bryce Love's on the field, the defense knows that he's getting the ball, he's getting handed the ball. Because look at this. Look at his stats again real quick. Put him up here. In his 4 years at Stanford, his first year he had 15 receptions for 250 yards. His second year he had 8 receptions, 83 yards. 2017, 6 receptions for 33 yards. In 2018, 20 receptions for 99 yards. Those are bad numbers. Those are really bad numbers. And look, you want to talk about context, we get into context. Stanford's quarterback play was horrible. It was horrible in 2018. It was horrible in 2017. It was even horrible in 2016 when Christian McCaffrey was there with Bryce Love, and they both had a really good year. So we understand why a guy like Bryce Love would get 263 rush attempts and get 2,000 yards on the ground. The quarterback play at Stanford was horrible. But keeping with that context, what does that tell you? When a quarterback is not a really good passer, who are his two best friends? His tight end and his running back. When you're a bad quarterback, you can't get the ball down the field, you are best friends with your tight end and your running back. And it speaks volumes that in his last 2 years in college, where he played 10 and 13 games, 23 games, 26 total receptions, the man is not a pass-catching back. And it would be crazy to even consider that in the NFL, he'd turn into a really good NFL-level pass-catching running back. He cannot block, so defenses know that if he's on the field, he's getting the ball in his hands, and if they are going to pass it, then he's not blocking. And if he is blocking, you want to bring in more pass rushers. You want to bring in another linebacker or something, because more often than not, he's not going to stop a linebacker or even a strong safety who's coming off the edge. It's just not going to happen. And if he is going to go out and run a route, you're not really going to key on him all that heavy. You don't have to put your best defender on him. You're not going to put like a nickel corner or like a safety like you would have to against Christian McCaffrey. It's just not going to happen. Bryce Love is not a threat to block. He's not a threat to catch the ball. He's injury prone, and he's kind of a one-trick pony. And to wrap it all up, I don't want to sound like I'm being too negative, and I feel like Bryce Love could have a really good career as a backup guy or like a 1-2 punch kind of thing for a team that already has a bruising back, a change of pace kind of guy they can bring in. But for our team, I just don't really see where Bryce Love really fits in other than saying, hey, we got this guy from Stanford from 2 years ago, and now we have this other guy from Stanford. I don't want to get corny, but it sounds like a lot of Panthers fans love Bryce Love because of the whole anime, friendship can save everything. As long as we have friendship, these two were friends at Stanford, and they can get through anything with the power of friendship. They're in the locker room, and they're friends again. I understand that angle, but when you look at his skill set, when you look at his injury history, when you look at just what he can do for the team and what the team actually needs, is it really all that smart to pick up a player just for the sake of friendship? Plus, the team already has Reggie Bondafon, which I think will just end up being a camp body. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. But Cameron Artis-Payne just got signed as well. I think that the team should try to, give him a chance, see what he can do. And honestly, I just don't know where Bryce Love fits on the team. I don't know where he fits on the team. I don't think he's a bad guy. But his skill set, what he can do for the team, and what the team actually needs is just not there. I just don't see what the point of getting Bryce Love would be, or any running back at all. I don't want to sound like I'm being anti-Bryce Love. I'm pointing out what I see as facts, but as a wider point here, the team shouldn't even draft any running back. 5th round, 6th round, or otherwise. This doesn't make any sense to me. I think we have enough guys, and if we do need to find someone, we can find an undrafted free agent kind of guy who can come in to be the 3rd running back behind Cameron Artis-Payne. But the way I see it right now, no running back should be on our list, but even more so, especially, not Bryce Love. But what are your opinions on this, man? Do you still love Bryce Love, and why? Why do you want Bryce Love on the team? Is it because of the whole Stanford connection, or is it because of something else entirely? Let me know. I mean, are you concerned about his injury history? Are you concerned about him not being able to block? Are you concerned about him not being able to catch passes out of the backfield? Let me know all that in the comments below. And you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.